Today, I'm going to let you into my secret on how I built a very inexpensive sheet metal folder, saved myself hundreds of pounds, and then I turned this sheet metal into these finished box sections on the chassis of my car. Stick around. So I needed to fold some metal up to about 850mm in length, and to buy a metal folder was going to cost me something like about £500, and it's just for this one-off job. Okay, there's about 16 bends to do, but I decided I was going to have a go at making one myself. The problem was, with the ones that I could buy, they were either too small, too expensive, or not very well made. So, started out with a couple of sketches. This one you can see is the actual main part of the folder, and the second one is what I gave to my mate, which is the hinges that he kindly machined for me. So I went in search of metal of the right size that I needed for the folder I wanted to build. I went to see friends and to scrapyards. So with all the metal that I'd got, I started to lay it out on the bench just to try and generate a few ideas as to how I was going to build it. This is a metal disc cutter that I borrowed off a friend, and I use it to cut the C-section, which I think is the biggest cut that I had to do. So this is a little flyover clip of the material that I've been laying out, trying to generate some ideas. I've got a piece of sheet steel in there of the size that I need to cut. That is one of the handles that I'm proposing to use in a piece of tube, which I think I'll end up welding to it. There's the other position there for the second handle. The top clamp, which is going to be a piece of angle iron, quite heavy duty piece of angle iron, and this shows the mechanism for raising and lowering the angle iron clamp. The mechanism will be based on a valve spring to raise the clamp, and I'll be welding it to the C-section. You can get these from your local scrapyard. Here you can see a bit of masking tape which I'm using just to mark out the position of the hinges. You can also see the bolt held in position ready for welding. This will form part of the lifting mechanism. It's important to use a piece of tube that is perfectly square on both ends. So you can use anything really. I use one of the ferrules of the steam pipe that I found at the scrapyard, because that's nice and square. Also the steam pipe, which is what I found at the scrapyard, and it's a fraction of the price that you will pay for new material, is what I use for the handles. So very inexpensive, and get yourself down the scrapyard. Use this method of bolting the bolt in place with a piece of tube so that I can actually weld it from the other side, and the tube, because it's cut square, holds the bolt really nice and perpendicular to the metal that I'm welding it to. Next, I had some rather long cuts to do, 120mm in length, through steel that was either 8mm thick or 6mm thick. And I had 4 of these to cut in the angle iron clamp and 4 in the C-section main beam. So I used my last 1mm thick cutting disc, and it did the job. I was really surprised. I thought it would have been consumed very quickly, but I just took my time, let the disc do the work, and it delivered. So one disc did all of that cutting. Very impressed. So if you're enjoying this, then please stay tuned to the end, because there's a bit of bonus footage for you which shows you where I've welded it, which could be useful. With the cutting done and the hinges back from my mate Steve, who machined them for me, I was able to start the process of fitting them into place, and the next bit shows you. Here we are doing the final fit of the bearings, the hinges I should say. Taking a bit of fitting, a bit of lining these up properly. So just dressing away this so as it fits nicely. And if you can see, I've got some markings on the end there, centre line and 2 centre markings. so that will help me to position the hinge in both directions. So yeah, that's what's taking the fitting. So spend a bit of time fitting them. Some of the tools I'm using: file, air file, which brilliant that is. Obviously magnets to keep it lined up. A clamp to clamp the ends together there. Mug of coffee, of course. That's the most important thing. Another magnet here to keep this end level, and the other hinge. So I'm just working on the first hinge, and yeah, some more grips to keep this end clamped together. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. With the hinges all welded in place, I was keen to see how it worked out. So put a piece in and bent it. This is only thin sheet galvanized steel, but I could already tell that there was need for some extra bracing in the middle. After looking at the way other people had braced their folders, I'd looked through all the steel stock that I'd got, and I found some 15mm square section, which I now realise was tool steel, because it was a hell of a job to bend. Anyway, I managed to bend it, and here you can see it's held in position with some magnets, ready to be welded up. So, what's the bolt for? I can hear you all asking. Well, the bolt is welded in the middle of the bent metal brace, and what that does is you can apply a force by tightening up the nut on the end of the bolt, and it applies a force to the middle center of the bending bar. And what that does, it keeps the bar nice and straight in the middle, so you get a nice even bend across the whole length of the part that you're bending. Finally finished with all the bracing, and this is a little bit of a box section that I first made on it. Just to go through the parts, we've got obviously the hinges here. This is the bending beam. Okay, underneath the bending beam, we've got a piece that's welded on, which is to try and give the bending beam some additional strength to stop it from flexing, and that's just welded on locally in four places. What you don't want to do, you don't want to put a lot of weld on all the way across, because you will get distortion, and that's not what you want. So the bracing bar, the bracing beam, as you can see, is welded there and there. It's welded everywhere where it touches, basically, and again welded there and all the way along there. So put plenty of weld on, turn your welder right up, get plenty of penetration on it. These are the ferrules off the steam pipe that I bought, and they're obviously welded directly to the bending beam, and then this is the bending beam reinforcing piece. The hinges, when you put the hinges on, you obviously weld the hinges to the bending beam, and on this part of the hinge, and on the outer part of the hinge you weld it to the base of the folder. So the top clamp needs to be very robust, so that you don't get any bending or deflection along its length. This, I believe, is 70mm by 70mm angle iron, and it's 8mm thick. You need that amount of material because you need to put a flat on there big enough to be able to sit the washer on, because that is what's going to be doing your clamping. So quite a large flat on there. The bolts are M16, so they're very very robust bolts, and you can see the height that you get clearance because that's raised up on the springs that are, because it's raised up on the springs that I've used. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please check out this one because it shows you exactly how I used it and what I made with it.